Right guys, we're back on the channel with Jackie and Euan, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about some interesting comments we came across after the weekend defeat at Ibrox. It's a few days ago now, but I think they're still quite interesting. Scott Brown, I think the first Celtic player to actually apologise for this season, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, let me know in the comments below if I am, if you've come across anyone else saying that. But this is Scott Brown after the weekend defeat, quoted as saying, "It's a hard game for the fans, but we are as disappointed as they are. We are sorry for letting them down over the whole season, because this was supposed to be our showcase season and it wasn't to be." Euan, is that a positive thing that Scott Brown's come out and said that? Does it matter at this stage of the season?
I'm in two minds, because obviously, being the captain, he's got to be the one that speaks to supporters. If anyone of the playing squad is going to speak to supporters, it's going to be Scott Brown. But what annoys me is the lack of accountability from higher up in Brunei, to be honest. I think, obviously, the players are responsible to some degree for their performances. Obviously, they're in charge of their performances. But equally, there's so much more to it than just that. And I think the lack of just the arrogance actually from the Celtic board over the season, and kind of pre-season as well, kind of just expecting this to be, our 10 in a row season and getting all the celebrations ready for everyone, actually properly investing in the squad and sticking with the manager who obviously did well last season, but not making the changes quick enough. Sorry, I love him on. Brunei's, I value it certainly, but equally I think it's not just it. He's not responsible for everything that's going wrong this season, and I think to put that on his own shoulders is a brave thing to do. But equally, it can't just be him. I'd rather hear about improvements rather than apologies. To be honest, something to look forward to for next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was something for the fans to take, because it seems as if everyone at the club this season has been completely tone deaf. I mean, we're like 23 points behind in the league. We've gone out of both cups without even making it to Hampden. We conceded, a million goals in the Europa League this season. We went out of the Champions League to a team from Hungary. It's just, whatever way you look at it, it's been a horrendous season, and we're yet to really get any sort of admission of that from anyone in power at the club. And obviously Scott Brown saying that at least gives us something. Jackie, from a player's point of view, or an ex-player's point of view, how do players rebuild a relationship that's broken with fans? Is it as simple as just going out and doing your talking on the pitch, results and performances, or would you, as a former player, how would you have played it in the media if the team was really struggling?
Yeah, I think it's how they go about it when they're playing. Not talking about it afterwards. Not it's your actions on the park. Fans can be take it certain ways, and everybody wants to win. You can lose games, you can do that. But fans aren't silly. They can see when people are trying, they're winning their tackles, winning their, everything, they're going about their job in a correct manner. When they don't see that and they see people jogging back or, not giving their all for the team, that's when it really irks them. So saying afterwards, what we're going to do this time, actions, I think, when they start next season with a new everything, new manager, director of football, a lot of new players, it will be their actions and how they go about it. And it has, in fairness to them, it's a strange season. It has been a strange season without the fans. I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple of the games live at the stadium, and luckily enough they've won. I've not been to when they've lost at home. Scored a few goals in the process, so should have maybe got me back a lot more.
Jackie for manager, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
But the first game of the season against Hamilton, they were very dominant, 4-0, easy job done. Dundee United at home, Livingston 6-0 when John came in. But there has been change. Neil's lost his job, Nick Hammond's away, Peter's leave at the end of the season. So, there has been a fallout from that.
I mean, I get that. Just going back to the you were touching there on the way the players have spoken in the media and stuff this season. Is it almost like, for a player's point of view, an impossible job for them? Because if the team's underperforming, there's nothing they can say to get fans back on side. Is it just a case of we've got to do our talking on the pitch here?
Yeah, I mean, just, if when you click on it, look at it, and the first thing, it's just it'll be negative anyway when the players say anything, because it is talk is cheap. It's by their actions there, or even build up to the game last week. We're going to do this and we're going to do that, or the cup game a couple of weeks ago. It's by winning and doing things properly. But in fairness, what they've done over a number of years, I think there, obviously the standard has come down, and the standards went up with Rangers. The standards came down with us because we've lost good players, and that's the difficulty, is keeping them. It's keeping the good players, and they come to Celtic to maybe get a move to England, like Van Dijk's and guys like that. You can't stop that. It's impossible. But what you have to do is try your best to get the next, the replacement, hopefully as good as the one that are going out.
Euan, it does strike me that if you go back a couple of years, it was the other half of the city that was making these, daft comments. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and invariably it fell flat in its face. Whereas we, under Brendan Rodgers, would kind of keep things quite quiet and do our talking on the pitch. And for some reason this season, it's the polar opposite. Do you have any theories for why that's happened?
No theories, no. But I would reflect on, we used to laugh about the statement league. I think that was quite a thing on Twitter. So basically, at the end of the season, it depended how many statements your club had given, and you'd obviously be ranked top of the league. And it was the worst teams who had the most statements, generally speaking. And I'd hate to see it now, because the only communication at the club has been really poor, but in sort of flurries, and it just all looks a bit panicked. It looks a bit haphazard. And it just kind of goes back to the idea of not really planning effectively. So I don't know what's to blame, to be honest. Individually, I think there's a whole lot of things. It's depressing.
It is, but it's difficult doing these videos. Do you think we'll see any sort of admission from Celtic, Euan, that this season has been horrendous? An admission that this hasn't been good enough, with no caveats, no excuses, because we got the Ian Bankier statement, didn't we, back in whenever that was, February or something, when he did admit that this season hadn't been up to standard at one part of the statement, but then later on he gave all the reasons, with absolutely no awareness and no admission that Celtic have been atrocious this season, and that's the main reason. So do you think we'll get anything from the club? Would it be a good idea for Dominic Mackay, even though he's not been at the club this season up until a fortnight ago, would it be a good idea for him to take the lead in that and almost just to put his name to a statement and to say, this hasn't been good enough this season, but we want your support for next season, and this is what we're going to do to try and get you back on side and make things happen?
It would be. I mean, in terms of an admission, I don't think you'll get a DVD highlights of the season in the shop. I don't think you'll get that. It would be good. I mean, we talked before about Dominic Mackay and whether or not he should say something until he's properly started and all that kind of thing. I reckon that kind of message will be in conjunction with a bigger announcement. So, if a manager or a director of football are both come in simultaneously, we'll get all the bump about like how, we need your support this season. We're going to do this, and this. I don't think it'll be isolated. I think, well, surely they must be cognizant of the fact that if they just promise things and then nothing happens again for a couple of weeks, that's just going to make people angrier. So, yeah, I mean, they're in a difficult position, but it's the situation they put themselves in, really. So, I can't say I'm enormously sympathetic to it. But yeah, in terms of Mackay, I think we'll just have to wait. I don't think we'll hear anything proper from him until he's officially in the job. At least nothing official. I mean, he might do an interview. He's done some pretty long interviews with Scotsman before that are a very good resource for articles, let me tell you. And he, so I mean, he's a good communicator. But as I said, I don't think we'll get anything isolated. I think it'll be like either one announcement or two simultaneous announcements, and then we'll be rolling again.
Jackie, I don't know if you ever see the comments below these videos, but you get a lot of love from the Celtic support, and in general, I would say you're quite a liked figure amongst the Celtic support. Maybe when some other former players don't quite have that reputation, is there a secret to it? Is there a way to handle yourself as a Celtic player? Is there a way to speak about the club as a former Celtic player? Or is it just that you're a very nice person?
I wasn't aware of that, but it's nice to hear. No, I think it's just like an honesty. I mean, over the years when I played, and even after when I played, and even guys that I've played with, and you see them come out, and they come across as quite bitter towards the club for, it's really, I don't get it, because you've been there. It's a special football club. It is. It's special there to be part of it. So I don't know why you wouldn't, or why you would want to turn on that or there. And going back to what you were saying earlier about what the players do to change the fans, speaking it, words are cheap. It's their actions, and I think when people see you and know you, and you're passionate about the club, you're passionate about your job when you play there, and you give everything you've got. And I think people respond to that. And I don't like when I see ex-players come out and slagging off the club, because it's easy. It's bad enough for other people doing that that have nothing to do with the club. It should be support. I mean, it'd be easy for me to come on here and slag everybody off. That's easy. That's not right. That's not. But it's not. I've been there. It can be a difficult place to work, because it's so everybody's so passionate about the club and wanting to do well. It's not like we want to do bad. And I think you've been on that side. I've been on the side of winning trebles and being in UEFA Cup finals. But I've also been in there when it's been tough as well. Rangers were strong when I first came to the club, and they got to 9 in a row. We stopped 10 in a row. And being part of that history is so important. And I'm really privileged to be there 10 years. I always seen it as an achievement. Every year that we're there, when they're bringing in more players and spending more money, to be there that length of time for me, it was a massive achievement. And I just want to see the club doing well. And I think hopefully that comes across that way, because I am passionate about it. I do care about it, and obviously they're been fortunate enough to go to some of the games this season, as I said, and it's just a special place. And I think we've all missed the fans not being there. The fans have missed not being there as well. So the only way to put across their frustration is online, unfortunately. When you're reading texts or reading things there, and it can come across there as not so nice, but it's because they care.
Well, here. Maybe that's your secret there. That's why you've got a good reputation, and I'm sure people watching this video will have taken a lot from that. That was excellent. But thanks, guys, very much for joining me on the video. We will be back next week at some stage. Hopefully, some sort of good news coming out of the club by then. But as I say, I kind of feel like I've been saying that every week for the last 6-7 months. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done it yet, and I'll speak to you soon.